Right, not gonna lie, I totally forgot about I was doing this today. I'm winging it. So, my testimony. So, I grew up in a Christian family, from birth. My parents were rather new Christians. My two sisters before me are, they are, well, because they were from mum and dad's previous marriages. They don't want to still. I don't think they still believe. So yeah, but yeah, I've been with sort of I grew up in a Christian family, and because I was sort of I was the first son as well, and I was also sort of the start of mum. I think sort of the start of mum and dad's Christian, trying to make a Christian family start off right with each other, start off right with God. I think we sort of had a few new challenges being new Christians and stuff. We had some challenges, especially with a son and stuff. So yeah. But no, though, so yeah, because I was in a Christian family, I think I call myself a Christian. We read the Bible. My family always encouraged me to read the Bible. I was always at services. Church I went to was West Street. I was Jeff Willits was the pastor at that time. Good pastor. I remember I remember saying was always a kid said to my mum, I want to be a Jeff one day. And I think God took that quite yeah. And God took that really seriously. So yeah. Anyway, time went on high school. Yeah, I got bullied in high school. But I think everyone goes in high school. But I don't think I got really badly bullied. But yeah, it happens. Anyway, yeah. So yeah, year 7 to about year 9 was a pretty anxious kid. Yeah, I suffered a lot of high anxiety, but that sort of yeah, but mum sort of spoke to me about it, and she saw it, and we prayed, and that sort of gradually became calmer. Then college came around, and actually no, sorry, before college, let's speak about my baptist. We don't want to forget about my baptism. Anyway, now baptism, I got baptized at 13. Yeah, 13. Now, when I chose to get baptized, it was by my own will. And basically, there was a service. I can't remember if it was Jeff or Adrian Ward. Can't remember. But one of them was saying, was doing a sermon, and I remember them saying, if you want to come be baptized, or you feel like you want to come be baptized, come to front. Now, I was 13 at the time, and I was glued to a seat. I had high anxiety. I didn't want to speak, in crowds. Didn't like speaking in crowds. I didn't like plays. Didn't like dramas. So yeah, I was glued to my seat. But there was something. I remember telling Adrian over this. I said it was like a tug of war, basically. One side was sort of pulling me towards the stage area of a church, and one there's a bit of me which was gloomy to a seat, basically. So yeah, it was a tug of war, but I did go up, and yeah, I did ask Adrian that I wanted to be baptized. And yeah, for baptism, probably the scariest bit of my life, because I was about having over 200 people staring at you. And yeah, yeah, I remember it well. Adrian was the sort of head guy, was taking charge of baptisms. He had sort of organised baptism, really good guy. I got prayed for by a guy called Greg. Can't remember his dad and mum's name. Anyway, yeah, he prayed for me. It was Tim Oakley and
Nice.
no, it wasn't Lisa. It was another guy because he actually baptized me in the pool. I can't remember the other guy's name, but I can get that now. Anyway, wait. Yeah, got baptized, and yeah, As years went on, though, I'm glad I got baptized at that time, because if I didn't get baptized at that time, I don't think I ever would. Well, and that's yes, I'm glad I did get baptized at that time. However, as time went on, teenage years, it did become more difficult, and high school came along, and yeah, it was difficult, but I kept going to Christian youth groups, kept in this other Christian, and yeah, I think because of that, yeah, I stayed. I stayed in the church scene. I stayed close to God, and so yeah, that sort of helped me along. Although I wouldn't say I was totally strong. I would say I was still there. Like I wasn't totally gone. If you understand where I was going. Yeah. Now, college came along, and that was really difficult first year of college, because I got really, really bothered, because I just didn't know much about social skills at all. And I said to myself, "Oh, I'm not gonna," and this is nothing, "Oh, I'm not gonna tell anyone I'm Christian, just lay low, just get on my work." But literally the next day during lunch, someone in my group asked me, "Hey, Dan, are you a Christian?" I'm like, "Oh, come on. Give me a break." Then, yeah, I said, yes, I am a Christian. I believe, I go to church and believe in Jesus. And to be totally honest, nothing really came of it. I was expecting more, but nothing really came of it, to be totally honest. They were just, okay, and so after that, I'm like, okay. But as years, I don't think I was the best example for my example, even at that time. I don't believe I was the best example. But I was young, I was still a young sapling, if you get me, young in my spirituality. Anyway, years went on by, and the next sort I had a, I had a plan, basically. I had a plan. I decided, right, I'll go, right, my plan is, I'll join the army, because I went to public service, got interested in the army. I'll join the army, and spend my contract years there, do 4 years there, maybe anything. If I enjoy it, I'll stay the eight years. Try and get my pilot's thing, because I want to join the Air Corps, want to come work for the Apache helicopters, and yeah, and that was a plan. Become an Apache helicopter, get a license, see where it took me now, and worst comes to worst, stay there 4 years, become a truck driver. And I thought, okay, that's a plan. And it's decent money, Graham. Anyway, went for my army interview. I failed a medical, and I remember saying to Mum, if I don't make it into the army, God, that's not what God wants me to do. Because yeah, I have this thing. Anyone could join the army. It's fairly. So I thought, right, everything went well until I got to the medical, and yeah, I was sent back on train the first day, because they said my lungs didn't work right. Anyway, so bit disheartened, didn't have any clue what I wanted to do next. Stayed with John Morrison's for a few years, which yeah, I got pretty depressed about, because I'm not sure how many of you work. No disrespect to people who work in retail, but I did not enjoy retail. Couldn't stand it. Anyway, yeah. Then the divorce happened. My mum had an affair, and the divorce happened, and that really shook me up. Actually, before the divorce, yeah, before the divorce, as the years went on, we had basically moved churches. We went from West Street to St Mark's, just near Queen's Park, so Westminster way, because my parents felt, because we moved out, and my parents felt like I wanted to do work there at the church. Then we moved to the lighthouse where Pastor David was, and I think when we moved to Lighthouse, I was getting a bit sick of moving churches. I was just following my parents around that back then. But then the lighthouse, and I saw Pastor David, and he seemed, yeah, I really enjoyed Pastor David, and he sort of gave me a prophecy, I think. Yeah, he gave me a prophecy. He just basically said, listen, your life's going to get very dark very quick, and you need to be prepared for it. Yeah, things are going to go downhill basically very quickly, and you need to sort of, I didn't really take his warning. I mean, I heard the warning, but I didn't really heed it. And yeah, so then the divorce came, and then I soon figured out what it was talking about. And yeah, divorce happened and it went downhill fast. Mum told me what she'd done, and the mouth. So my mouth was working, but it hadn't really hit the body yet, if you get me meaning. So I said I forgave her. I said, let's, try and sort this out, blah, blah, blah. And Mum said, wow, you're taking this really well. But the emotion of the body, the wave hadn't hit me yet. It hadn't yet. And then as it gradually, the divorce started setting in, it started to really, it hit me. And I went, college was over, I was still at Morrison's, and I went on a very dark path of sex, drugs, and basically clubbing every weekend. Almost. Yeah, I went dark path, took cocaine, just clubbing every night. It was just literally the only reason I was working was to have enough money to go out that next weekend. And yeah, it was, a lot of alcohol, and yeah, it was like that for 2-3 years, I think. Anyway, yeah, well, I can't remember when, but I remember one time I just said, right, I need to stop this because it's getting out of control. It's getting out of control, and it's just not good for me. It's not good for the family. And anyway, one time during in service at the lighthouse, I think it was a Father's Day. We were talking about the father, and that Hillsong came on about good father, and I was at the back dealing with music at the time.
You were a good father.
Yeah, and no one could see me, but I just sort of broke down in the sort of radio technician's pit behind everyone. I sort of broke down because it's I sort of got the feeling, right, you messed up, but he's still there. He's still there.
That's right.
Yeah.
He always will.
So anyway, life went on, and I stopped the drugs and a mass amount of alcohol. Thanks to my friends actually. I'm not sure if God had. Yeah, I reckon God had a deal. I'm not gonna say the event which made me stop, but yeah, I stopped which was good. And then then still wasn't sure what to do. Moved jobs into my care job. When I went back into animal management, I went and decided I want to be in conservation, work in conservation. Then because I'd worked abroad a few times and I enjoyed it. So like, come with conservationists, went to work abroad, work with animals, yeah. Then I got into reenactment, and yeah, that was another thing I didn't see coming. But yeah, I found another bunch of friends, atheist friends, unfortunately. But yeah, they started working in reenactment. Then COVID happened, and I thank God for my job, because if it wasn't for my job, I was going to go mental, honestly. COVID did try me around with them, but yeah. Anyway, college ended, and college agendaed, and I was still in my job, and I was thinking, right, I'm not enjoying this job. I need to figure. And I was praying to God to sort of help me out with jobs because I wasn't sure what I wanted to do for employment. And time went on after a year or so, and then a friend of mine came along and said, "Hey, have you been to Chester before?" And I go, "Once. Why?" "Well, do you know about the Roman tours?" No. Anyway, they said, "Well, a friend of mine who's a boss there is looking for a person to take." Well, basically, I've had a sort of guy leave unexpectedly. They're looking for a person sort of be your employee. Would you be interested? I can put in a good word for you. Now, I didn't like talking to people. No, I don't like talking to people. I've still got slight bit of anxiety. Not as bad as when I was a kid, but yeah, I just don't like they working with people, and yeah, God seems to have a sense of humour, that, because I wasn't gonna go, but then I thought, you know what? What's the worst that could happen? Because it's basically what I'm going to be doing as a reactant, and I just get paid for it. And yeah, that is my current employee today. And yeah, God has led me to something which I feel very passionate about. But yeah, the main thing with my testimony, and I know I'm coming back and forth here, but I have moved churches a lot, and one thing was just because I was following my parents. Another thing was I never really sort of stuck at one church until recently. So and the divorce did really affect me because it wasn't just one person's fault. As yeah, I looked at it did take a massive thing on me as a young Christian man back then, because I was 19, and it really did shape my faith. And yeah, it was, from my point of view now, it's both parents' fault. We just weren't. Yeah, it was both their faults. And looking back now, it was I like to call it the Job moment, if you get me. And it was the Job moment. And instead of running to God, I didn't run to God, and I ran to earthly ways. And yeah, it was a time when it was supposed to make me stronger. I didn't, yeah, but I've learned, and yeah, that's what we have to. We can't expect our lives to be perfect, and I've learned that we can't expect our lives to be perfect. We can't expect people to be perfect, and that's why we have to really draw faith to God, and we have to keep strong. We have to keep discipline. That's another thing. We have to keep discipline. We have to keep studying. I think that's what puts people off being a Christian, when they really get into it, sort of thing. Realise there's a lot of studying involved, which I found out as I've gone through Christian. There's a lot of studying, because that's the only way to build your armour up and keep your armour sort of clean and intact. But yeah, another thing is we always talk about being Christian soldiers, and it is literally what I look at it. It is literally being a Christian soldier, because we're studying. You study the Bible to learn learn the enemy's movements, to clean the armor, keep your armor fixed, keep it clean. And being a reactor, I see resemblance sort of thing. Keep my armor clean, keep my weapon clean, keep it shiny, keep training, keep fellowship. Yeah, and it's literally is. we talk about being Christian soldiers, but we don't really understand that term. But now I'm being in reactment, I sort of see the relation in between, being like a soldier. But yeah, you just need to be prepared. You can't expect people to be perfect. You can't expect yourself to be perfect. You can't rely on your own plans. You've literally just got to pray and study and just remain in faith, even when things seem tough and even when things don't seem pointless. And I'm willing to admit I still struggle with discipline. I really do struggle with sort of studying and keep studying, praying, and I really do struggle. And just if I had if I had discipline, I'd be a bit more prepared for this. But that's my testimony, and just remain in good faith, keep your armor strong, keep studying, and just keep believing in him, because he's got a plan for you.
And that's right.
It's probably the last plan you expect, but it's still a plan.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, that's my testimony. Thank you very much.
Let's give him a shoulder.